Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Terry McGriff Show. Right here again, along with my illustrious co-host Andre L. Sullivan, sporting the JU hoodie. What's up, man?
I'm making it, man. Glad you looking at me and me looking at you.
All right. Hey, I see you got the JU sporting your alma mater. It is that time of year. Basketball season has started. I know things are getting riled up. I think you back doing more stuff at the studio. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting in the studio right now? Are you sitting in them illustrious iHeart Studios? That's what I thought. I see the monitor back there. You back at it. Okay. So yeah, man, it's good to see you. Good, like you said, me looking at you, looking at me looking at you. Got a good show today. We're gonna do some topics I think that's gonna be kind of interesting, and then I might jump into another depending on how much time we got. Let's talk about before we do anything, guys. If I like our content, please hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. Allow us to continue to giving you this great discussion, all this great content that you're enjoying. Also, just patronize our partners, Team Sportswear Direct, Watch Game Film, the Women's Tackle Football League, all the all the people thereof, and got some exciting news on that. We'll be having some celebrities start endorsing our league, and we've got some of the things that we're doing. Some old school rappers and stuff like that. I'm gonna release one tonight. Some people that's really supporting the women, what they're doing over there. They kind of recognize what they're the effort they're putting in. So I'm really excited to put that out there. But so let's get into these topics, my man. Let's talk about. We've been watching the Jaguars the last few weeks, and obviously, they've won 2 out of the last 4 games, which is not bad. Just better than what they were. They already doubled what they did last year. We're going to talk about them and that defense. We're also going to talk about, we're going to get into something we was talking about because it's that time of year, people getting fired and losing their different jobs and stuff. Why colleges are rushed to fire their head coaches. And then topic number 3, we're going to how did we build, if we were going to build somebody, I was looking at Cam, and if you built the perfect quarterback, how would you go about doing it? All right, so let's jump into it. Obviously, we're as Jaguar fans, and you cover the Jaguars, we see the ins and outs. And this year we weren't hoping for nothing. Only a miracle we get in the playoffs. But we wanted to see, obviously, would the quarterback situation improve the team, how the quarterback's going to do, and a lot of the new guys that we brought in. But me, the surprising thing over the last couple of weeks is how well the defense has come together. One of the guys that kind of stood out to me, which I was hard on him at the beginning in preseason, was Tyson Campbell, and how he had his best game. And Rudy Ford and a couple of the other guys, and Josh Allen is starting to come into his own, and their defense is starting to play the run game and everything better. So I wanted to have you talk about it too. How I just think that this point of the season, they've been a pleasant surprise compared to where I thought they were going to be. What do you think?
I think they're crap. I'm sorry. I don't know what you've been watching. When your safety is the team leader in tackles, almost halfway through the season at 42 tackles, that's an issue for me. I'm sorry. I was like, when you sent me that, I was like, what team you watching? Like, I'm confused, and they've made some strides forward, but good God, what? Like, I'm sorry. Listen. Like I said, Jenkins is the leader in tackles at 42 tackles. I want that number to stick in people's head because he plays safety. He plays safety. And he's the leading tackler on the team. Not a defensive lineman, not a linebacker. Your starting safety is your leading tackler. That's an issue for me.
Nobody said the same thing because that's what was what was his name? Lord have mercy, I totally went a blank on his name. The safety for the Chiefs, Honey Badger. He's their leading tackler.
Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu, who plays strong safety and plays about 70% of his snaps in the box. Yeah, of course he's going to be the leading tackler. Rashad Jenkins does not play 70% of his snaps inside the box. He's getting his tackles from runs that break 10 or more yards.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you, but I'm talking about you, and you're right. It's not like they're an elite defense. We're not talking. I'm trying to give some positivity of what we've seen out of the last couple of weeks. Are they going to be in the playoffs? Not only no, but heck no, hell no. I ain't even gonna say heck, hell no. They're not gonna make the playoffs. But what, as a Jaguar fan, you at this point of the season, you were looking to see from when Urban Meyer took over, is there any improvement? Is there any reason that you can think moving forward into the next season that this team is going to be worth, if you on the fence of buying season tickets to come watch them play, you know what I mean, or invest in more time, would that team be really give you your bang for your buck as far as wins and losses? It's something that they can hang their hat on. I have to say the defensive last few weeks, even in the losses, have played much better. I mean, the defense was the reason they beat the Buffalo Bills because the defense won. The defense actually outside of that fourth quarter, they want to make sure the defense outside of that first quarter, they want kind of made sure the game stayed well in hand so they can actually try to catch up to get within the 3 points. I mean, for as many guys that they brought into this facility, you know, because they were devoid of talent, especially after last season, they was, lack of a better phrase, hot garbage. I mean, people ran through them like a hot knife through butter. I mean, this is least competitive. You're seeing competitive in NFL caliber defense. The offense got a long way to go. But at least you can say, okay, if I'm gonna watch something I can count on, I can see some part of professional football by watching the defense. And you're right, Rayshon Jenkins should not be the leading tackler, but that's from numbers before they really start making that. And I think that making an improvement in it seems like the light is coming on in the defense that Joe Cullen has been coordinating with these guys. Because I think it took them a few weeks to kind of learn exactly what they needed to do and be comfortable and playing this defense. Now you can tell me what you think about that part.
They're crap. I'm sorry. I don't know. Listen, man,
you're not taking nothing positive out this thing.
You can dress up a dead dog as much as you want to. The dog's still gonna be dead. Like, I'm sorry. Like listen, I'm not one of those extra unnecessarily optimistic people. Yeah, they've shown some spots there where like you're like, okay, there's something there. But if you suck, you suck. Call a spade, a diamond, a heart, a club. There ain't no other way to play that book. You suck. And so, I mean, yeah, they got, like you said, they've kind of bought in and settled down into this new defense that they've had to learn. But overall, they suck, and they suck in a lot of places. And the sucking doesn't stop anytime soon, people. I need y'all to understand that. They play the 49ers this Sunday. Then they play the Falcons. Then they go to LA. Then they go to Tennessee. Then the Texans come to Jacksonville and they go see the Jets, the Patriots, and end the season with the Colts. People, like, yeah, I warned y'all about this in preseason. No, let me back up. I warned y'all about this during the draft. And y'all shunned me. And you told me to turn in my credentials. No, listen, I'm sorry. They suck. And right now, they have a lot of work to do before they can not suck. And so right now, it's like watching the egg hatch. I'm just waiting for the damn chicken to get up out of there at this point. So, whatever Urban Meyer needs to do it now. Because what do you have to lose? Like, I mean, at this point.
I'm trying to show some positivity about our local team. You just put a whole bunch of gasoline and kerosene and cooking oil and threw. You didn't even light a match. You just threw a bonfire ball on.
Man, listen, I love my Jaguars.
Go up in one big.
I love my Jaguars. I'm gonna always be a Jaguar fan. but I am also a journalist at heart, and I'm going to tell you the truth. It sucked. It sucked. That's more TV to watch.
All right. Okay, then. Okay, tell us how you really feel. Well, with that said, I think we know exactly where everybody stands on this situation with the Jaguars defense. Two great different perspectives. All right, then. So let's go on to our next one, which is a little bit more somber, but it's okay. It's okay. I have a question to you as a journalist and your opinion on to. There seem to be a lot of people. Obviously, they want Dan Mullen to be fired from the Florida Gators. People are still clamoring already for Urban Meyer to fire or him to leave. That he might leave and go to USC. The fact that Ed Orgeron and LSU has parted ways. Obviously, Manny Diaz is on his way out the door. They fired the athletic director. After that, 4th and 14, which I know as a Florida State fan, you love that Florida State got off the side and beat Miami, which the ripple effects of that, obviously the athletic director being terminated and soon to be the head coach will be gone too. So, and there's a lot of people are moving people around already. There's been, I think, at least 5 or 6 different firings already. And we're not even to Thanksgiving yet. So, I understand people want to get out ahead of recruiting, but why the rush to fire coaches? And are we too quick to pull the trigger on these guys? And I'll take your opinion.
You know, we've had this conversation in many various forums about, coaches, staff members, and stuff, and even players. And I kind of always land upon the same answer: is if we're not in the room where it happens, we kind of we're getting the tail end of the dust, if you will. And so, just to use the Virginia Tech firing, for example, I can't speak to how the morale in that locker room is. I can't speak to how players feel about him firing. I can only give you hearsay of what the reports have come out. And, Virginia Tech and their administration decided to pull the plug, but you got to realize that they are the ones who made that decision, and ultimately they're the ones who are going to either pay or be proud of that decision. Mm-hmm. If we go back, a few years here in Jacksonville, Florida, with head coach Gus Bradley, the players love Gus. There hasn't been a player yet to say a bad word about him as a head coach. And that speaks to who he was as a person and as a coach. But he wasn't winning. Then you go to Doug Marrone. Listen, the players went to war for Doug Marrone. I need you guys to understand that. That fight between Jalen Ramsey and Doug Marrone on the sideline was legit. But at the end of the day, they would hug each other before they left the building. And that spoke to him as a person, as a coach, and how much they believed in him. But ultimately, he couldn't get W's for that team. And I mentioned all of that to say this. When you are in those leadership positions, sometimes you got to make tough decisions that everyone's not going to agree with. I can remember going on a job interview one time, and the strangest question that I've ever gotten is, if you were in charge, what kind of team would you put together? And my answer was, I want a yes man who says yes to everything I say. I want a person who challenges everything I say. I need a person who's iffy about everything I say, and so forth and so on. And so, as a leader, you have to answer to that team. Yeah, and moreover, as the leader of a college program, especially athletic director, you have to answer to a lot of people. You got to answer to your school. You got to answer to your players who you know you convinced to come to your place of higher education. And then you got to answer to your donors, and they hell.
Yeah.
They're hell. You know what I mean? And those are 3 entities. And in those 3 entities, I probably just mentioned about 200 or 300 people. So, is there a rush to fire them? Some may say yes. But again, those individuals who are making those decisions have to be the ones to either be proud of it or own up to it. And I can never, and I can never, and nor will I ever judge a man by doing something that saves his job.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. It's just you got the athletic directors that they're really wanting to, keep their job. They want to make sure that their booster clubs members are happy. They want to make sure they got donations coming in, and all of those things. I get it 100%. I totally understand. But there's a line I would say you need to kind of walk to make sure that you can allow these coaches to develop the program. I mean, I was just listening. We was talking about Butch Davis. I think he's out on his way out at FIU, and he was talking about how they beat Miami, and he had all this stuff. People want to help him, and then next thing you know, he's losing players here and there that were going on to more bigger school, Power 5 schools. He lost a kicker who won them the game to Miami, or you got these guys at the mid-American mid-majors, they're winning, and then next thing you know, all their players are transferring to Power 5 schools, or they're leaving. You know what I mean? Because the coaches at the schools that are really struggling when they come in, doesn't seem like the coaches are getting ample enough time with the new way things are doing, especially with this NIL, and you got people able to transport portal the way it is. You're not getting the time to be able to develop talent. And even sometimes when you do develop that talent, the talent gets stolen from you. So, what is the balance of waiting, and how long should you wait, you think, before you let somebody go, especially depending on how much you're paying them? I mean, let's just be a Gator, stick with the Gators right now. Oh, and before we do that, let's jump into Florida State, that situation. After Jimbo left, how long did he get? 2.5 years? Or he didn't even get 3 full seasons, and he's gone. Now Norvell came in. He's not done much better. You know what I mean? He's the way he started out this year, people thought he was going to be out the door. He's kind of rebounded a little bit. He finally beat the rival. But there's still talk about him not being the guy. Obviously, the same thing with Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen started out a little hot, and now he's coming on to a 7-win season and maybe an 8-win season, and maybe now a 7-win season. And people are ready for them to go. But if you look at what the dynamics of what that's going on, they don't have the top talent on their team from the state of Florida. That's the top talent from the state of Florida is actually leaving the state. So where do you figure out where the balance is, where the programs, the school, the administrators have as much a part of the success or failure of that program as the coaches do, especially when you're talking about an arms race with NIL, namings and likeness, and the arms race for facilities. And everybody knows Florida's, and Miami's is not like Alabama's, Clemson, some of these other major programs.
Agree. And it's a very touchy situation. But I think there's one thing that I mentioned before that we have to realize. And I think this is the one thing as fans and even media members that we can forget. When we gauge success. And what's interesting enough about this, the former athletic director at Jacksonville University is the one who actually personally taught me this in my time within the administration there. only one person gauges success, and when he does, he gauges it two ways. They gauge it by wins and losses and how your program looks. So yeah, there's some coaches that could be absolutely winning. Woo. They getting championship after championship after championship. But if they're making your program look like crap, I mean, what am I keeping you there for?
Mm-hmm.
There's some coaches who lose like that every year, but they're graduating about 70 to 80% of their athletes, and so the optics look good.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's some coaches who do both. There's some coaches who don't do either, and so the level and the gauge of success literally owns up to one person, and that's that AD. And again, that AD has someone to answer to as well. Mm-hmm. And I think we as fans tend to forget that. So, and I say all of that to say every AD gauges things differently. You know, some athletic directors, some president of the university, they just want wins. They don't care how you get them. If we think back to those old Miami days, they ain't care how you got them. You just getting the wins. You know, and then you go to school, you know, those smaller schools like Harvard or Yale. We don't care about wins or losses. Are my players graduating? Because if they got below a 3.5, I don't even want them on the field. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, it's not. I think we as fans, you know, of course, we watch with the third eye always, and so we don't understand that we're not the ones gauging the success. We're just watching the contest, and athletic directors and university and college presidents have the relentless task of always being the ones saying, "This is how I want my program to look. This is how I want my program to be seen to the public." And if they're happy with it, cool. And if they're not happy with it, we see fireworks. And I'll use the case with Florida State. Florida State has a history of winning. You know, before Willie Taggart, you had Jimbo. And then you had the great Bobby Bauer. The thing about that was they're used to winning. And when you're not winning, everything that goes wrong in the program tends to come to light. Mm-hmm. So the quickest way to hide that is by doing what? Winning. And that's not to say that a lot of programs don't do that. Let's go look at USC for just a great news second. But when you do all of these things, and that winning kind of takes away those negative connotations about your program. So yeah, Willie Taggart was the sacrificial lamb in that. But think about this, and I'm not making an excuse for him because how he got fired, yes, it was dead wrong. That's my personal opinion. But that's just it. It's an opinion. But think about it for a second in the eyes of the athletic director. Hey, I got a program here where my athletes are struggling on the field of contest, and I'm not so sure about how they're doing scholastically and academically. Something got to give. And it ain't going to be their professor. Because I can't go firing their professors. Mm-hmm. I can't go fire their tutors. I can't go fire my GAs who taking their grades. That's going to get fixed. Mm-hmm. Now what can I do to fix my program? We're not winning. What can I do to lighten the blow of us not winning right now? Boom, there's a head coach. Mm-hmm. And he's not the first to have it happen. He's not the first black one to have it happen. He's not going to be the last one to have it happen. Mm-hmm. But that is how the realm of sports works. and heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Amen.
Because that's the one who has to make that call.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Basically, great points. Great points on that. So, it's a slippery slope, and the fans always going to have their opinion. Nobody's going to be 100% happy until they go undefeated and blow everybody out on their way to the national title and raise it, and then say, okay, that's good. Let's do it again. Okay, that's good. Alabama is the king of that, and they don't seem like they can ever make their fans happy. I mean, the people at Clemson right now are in the uproar, and I'm like, dude, you've been playing in the last 3 playoffs. You won an out. Come on, man. You're not going to win everything every year. Be realistic. Enjoy what you're watching too. Enjoy the history of what you're doing. But a lot of times people get caught up in that. So we kind of answered that question. So let's move on to our last topic so far of the show. I was kind of thinking about that after we watched Cam Newton, and he was watching, and he came back and he scored. I'm back, all that stuff, and I thought it was entertaining and everything. I thought it, and I was thinking to myself, he's back this week, and it was the same week he was back, as well as Aaron Rodgers finally made it back from his COVID, and Russell Wilson making it back from his finger injury. And I'm thinking about, wow, these are all guys that have done some great things in the NFL. But none of them are perfect quarterback. What would you do what would make the perfect quarterback? Everybody knows that Tom Brady's the GOAT. But they say, well, he's the best overall quarterback. But what would make a guy would say, okay, we know we can win with this guy? Because, they say the quarterback has to carry and cover for your deficiencies. Obviously, you got some guys that can do that. Cam could do that back in the day. You got Lamar Jackson definitely doing that. In certain aspects, Tom Brady was able to do it with the way he managed the game. Same way with Peyton Manning in his day. So what would make the ultimate quarterback? And if I'll let you go first and tell me, if you had to make the ultimate quarterback, what would you use? I know I'd like to use a piece of all these guys. I like all their different characteristics and traits. So I'll let you go first, and you tell me what you think. See if we agree.
I'll be honest with you, and this is just purely personal opinion, no scientific notation added at all. But the perfect quarterback, in my eyes, for a long time, and his career ended shortly, was Andrew Luck. And the reason behind it is because I think Andrew Luck had quantifiable skills that were underrated. And then those skills that we can't quantify weren't given enough credit. Well, what I mean by that is Andrew Luck can outrun a lot of different people, but he didn't need to. He'll sit back in the pocket and dice you up. If you go look at Andrew Luck's film, Andrew Luck ran over a lot of linebackers and laughed about it too. But, he didn't get enough credit for that because he's not, Cam Newton, a prolific runner like RG3 was. You know what I mean? But when you look at Andrew Luck could bomb you if he wanted to. He could really bomb you, but, that wasn't his game. He would get the ball to those 15, 20-yard passes because that was his high accuracy for him. And I just loved watching play. Now, especially when he played for the Indianapolis Colts. So I had to see him 2 games a season, and that wasn't always fun. But overall, just the way he played the game and the way he studied and prepared was immaculate. And it was almost Roger Staubach-like. He just never truly had a full supporting cast to get him. And it sucks that his career got cut short because of injuries, but that was wholeheartedly a career cut too short for me, just because he was that guy. And he just didn't get enough credit for it because he didn't have a supporting cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He was probably one of them. And there are some guys I thought with their skill and ability were kind of close to that level, what I would consider perfect quarterback. give you some guys who kind of had a little bit of both. Was obviously Joe Montana. The man was athletic. Wasn't overly fast, but he was athletic and could make plays with his legs. And same with Steve Young. And you can see the results of how the passing yards and the careers that they have. Aaron Rodgers is kind of that guy. Ben Roethlisberger for a spell was that guy, because I remember first spell you really couldn't even get Ben Roethlisberger on the ground, and he extended plays not just with his leg but with his arm, and able to be able to find guys. And the common denominator with all these guys, they won Super Bowl. Tom Brady was probably he's in the vein of the great pocket passes, him and Peyton Manning, and Dan Marino. The one thing I think about was about Tom Brady. He's probably, as he's the GOAT, but he's the GOAT for me because he's probably the best decision maker of all time out of all quarterbacks. He seems to always make the right throw at the right time to the right receiver, and his dissecting of the play mid-play, from when he takes the snap and he makes his drop, to know what read to make, and he always seems to make the right read for the most part. Because if you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, how he does it, and he does it with his arm and in his eyes and brain. Obviously, you saw Peyton Manning was the king of the pre-snap read. Nobody could read a defense prior to the snap did better than he could. So if I was to put something together, another thing was quick release. Nobody was better in the history of the game so far than Dan Marino getting that ball out of his hand. Extending plays. Gosh, there's three guys that come to mind when I say extending plays to make a play. I'm not just talking running with the ball, just extending the play. Number one, in my opinion, was Randall Cunningham. Number two is Ben Roethlisberger. And number three, people don't really think about it, was Dan Marino, because Dan Marino didn't run, but he scooted around the pocket, and he allowed his receivers to get open. Those guys. So I would like to have the pre-snap reading of Peyton Manning, the in-snap decision-making of Tom Brady, the mobile pocket awareness to extend the play with, and I'll use newer guys now, Ben Roethlisberger, or maybe even Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers usually runs a lot more than even Ben did. Ben kind of just ran around in the pocket. And now if I want to just be able to run any kind of offense we can do and just kill you if you wanted to run, obviously you want to have not even the running ability of the greatest, as great as Michael Vick was. I don't think he's been surpassed in my far running with the football. I think Lamar Jackson at this point has surpassed him. And that's no disrespect intended for Michael Vick. He was probably, if not the greatest athlete playing the quarterback position, he might have been one of the top 5 athletes playing that position. But they didn't build the offense to run the ball around him. All of his runs came off of him scrambling out of making plays. They literally construct the running game around Lamar Jackson. And that was totally unheard of before Lamar Jackson. You didn't do what they call the kind of football they run until he did that, even though you could. I kind of started with that. The precursor of that was what's his name? The coordinator for the Roman started that trend when he had what's his name now? One that's basically been blackballed. I'm talking about the kneeled. Anyway, with the 49ers. But, I mean, you can get that running ability and just top-end speed of Lamar Jackson. And if you can put it all in the body of Cam Newton, but give them the durability and pain tolerance and ability to show up every game of a Brett Favre, I think you would have the perfect quarterback. Because the best ability you have to have is availability. And Brett never hardly ever missed a game, paid through pain and all that stuff. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that would be one hell of a guy.
Yeah, that guy would be good for a playoff appearance every year of his career, kind of like Tom Brady. But that would be a guy that you're probably going to get. You'll probably have most of your seasons at least with 14 wins.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I'm like, well, if you could actually build one, the way they hydrating and building things and mixing animals and stuff like that, if you could actually somehow engineer one, could you do that? But a lot of the stuff that you couldn't, because a lot of those things are things you just grow into, or you either got it or you don't. You either got that pre-snap read or you don't. You either got that ability to make decisions on the fly to see the guy open and you get that ball in the right place like a Brady, or you don't. So that's my thing, and I appreciate it. Well, let's not linger on. I know we all got some stuff to do. I enjoyed you today. I think, man, we had a great show, some good topics. I enjoyed your insight. And folks, if you enjoy what we're doing out there, please once again hit that like button, subscribe to this channel so we can keep bringing you this content, and please help out our companies that really support us. Team Sportswear Direct, Watch Game Film, the Women's Tackle Football League. Just help these companies out. They really help us going. Also, once again, I want to thank my illustrious co-host right here, Andre L. Sullivan. Look, sitting right there in them iHeart Studios, and our great producer, Granville Moody Fowler on All Sports High. And until next week, my friends, please be out there, be safe, and enjoy your holiday weekend. Get ready for Thanksgiving next week. We'll try to do a show before then, but if not, enjoy your holiday and be blessed. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Terry McGriff Show.